I think it tells us a little bit about Laurent Ferrier. When he's passionate about something, he takes it to the pinnacle of that sport or that profession.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of What You Wearing. Today we are talking about Laurent Ferrier, one of my favorite brands.
So today we have not just one, but two special unique pieces from Laurent Ferrier, and they are both from the Galet Micro-Rotor model.
Before we talk about the designs, let's talk a little bit about the man himself.
So Laurent Ferrier has more than 37 years of experience at Patek before he started his own atelier.
So he worked at different departments, and finally he ended up being responsible for all the external parts of the case, and he also worked on the Nautilus.
Which for the Nautilus, in my opinion, probably all the external parts are the best part of the watch.
And he comes from a family of watchmakers. His father's a watchmaker, he's a watchmaker, and his son, Christian Ferrier, is also a watchmaker who was working on movements for Roger Dubuis. And not only is he just a watchmaker, he is also a very avid racer. So avid that he actually raced in the 24-hour Le Mans, and not only did he participate, he actually placed third.
Just behind Paul Newman, who came second, right?
That's right.
I think that's really impressive. And he's not doing this full-time, he's doing this part-time. I think it tells us a little bit about Laurent Ferrier. When he's passionate about something, he takes it to the pinnacle of that sport or that profession. I think that applies to racing, but it also applies to watches.
Yeah, so in this present form, I think Laurent Ferrier as a brand is something that is very much about understated elegance. And it's all about the little details.
I think it's a brand that when you wear it, people are not going to notice what kind of brand it is. People are not going to recognize this watch from afar. But it's only when they pick it up and finally they're able to notice all these little details. I think they have quite a unique design language in the sense that it's a little bit softer, a little bit more fluid. It doesn't have those sharp edges. Everything flows very smoothly.
Yeah, I think there is no straight line at all on this case anywhere.
Yeah, from the Galet, apart from maybe the inside deluxe, everything else is like a pebble, because Galet means pebble, I think, in French.
He really wanted to make a watch that would have the right curves and give you a feeling that, like a pebble you would pick up from the side of a river that has been run through with water over many years.
It's quite poetic, isn't it? It's like an object that stands the test of time, and it's an object of time itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I see we have both chosen the Galet Micro-Rotor as our base model to do our unique pieces on. Tell me, why did you pick this model?
For me, actually, my favorite model is the Tourbillon, which is actually the first model that they launched back in 2010, and then they instantly won the GPHG. So, talk about starting with a bang.
Yeah.
But that watch, for me, I feel like I don't have the very large wrist, and that watch is slightly larger and slightly thicker. I think 1 millimeter larger and 1 millimeter thicker, which in watch terms is a lot. And I feel like the Micro-Rotor is a happy medium.
I too agree. I think, as you mentioned, the Tourbillon is just amazing. But also, I've got even a smaller wrist than you. I definitely can't carry the Tourbillon. So this is the next best thing, right? It's got the same finishing details as the Tourbillon. Even the bridge that holds the Micro-Rotor looks like a Tourbillon bridge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've never seen another watch brand that holds their Micro-Rotor like that.
So the finishing is a very good aspect of the brand, but not only are they finished well, the movement itself also has something that's a little bit more interesting, which is it actually features a natural escapement, the invention from Abraham Louis Breguet, which offers more stable chronometry and is self-starting.
So it's not just pretty on the eye, it's actually got some technological advancement to it.
That's right. So tell me about your design. So what did you change?
For my design, I started off with their existing model, which has a similar concentric numeral design, but I feel like the center is a little bit plain. I wanted to add a little bit more to it. So I added the inner circle in a slightly darker color to make it look a little bit even smaller.
Yeah, I see that you added an outer ring for the minute track and also one for the sub-seconds track. I think that's a nice touch because you have those hands landing exactly on the track, so you know exactly which second or which minute it is.
Exactly, and it actually took a little bit of back and forth to achieve the exact alignment. Turns out at the time they have two different suppliers supplying slightly different length of hand, and it got a bit confusing at the time, but I'm glad it finally worked out. And I really like the pad printing as well. If you look closely, it almost has a 3D effect to it. The pad printing is not flat. They must have printed it multiple times to achieve that depth, I think. And as for the case metal, I chose white gold. I think that goes very well with their understated ethos behind the watch. It looks like a regular steel watch, but unless you pick it up, you won't know the preciousness of the material. And I really like the heft it has on your wrist as well. Moving on to your watch, tell me a little bit about your design.
I wanted to, just like you, bring the watch a little bit smaller, so I actually elongated the minute markers and then having them a little bit longer for every 5 minutes so that it could be more easy to read the time. I also had an outer ring for the minute track and added the corresponding track as well for the sub-seconds. I decided to play with textures a lot, so the dial itself is a frosted finish, but having circular brushing on the outer ring and matching finishing on the sub-seconds. I really like the indices, but I felt like having indices every 5 minutes would be too busy, so I only kept it for 12, 9, and 3. To match the dial, I also on the back decided to go with a frosted finishing for the movement. I feel like having a frosted contrasting finishing allows you to see the beveling of the bridges a lot easier, as well as offering a contrast with the black polish of the parts.
Yeah, I think this is genius because having the two-tone design, the contrast highlights the moving parts of the movement. In particular, all the bridges are black polished and they stand out very nicely.
And lastly, I decided to go with a more special case material. So this is actually made in tantalum, and it is the only one that they've made. It took quite a long process.
How long did it take?
It was like more than 2 years because they had a lot of difficulties in manufacturing the case. The metal is very hard to work with, and the curves of the case make it quite hard to polish. I think about a year into it, we almost had to scrap the project, but I'm very happy that we decided to stick it out and we made it a reality. While these watches are nice, I think for me, it was definitely the memories and the relationships that we got to build along the way that actually make it more precious and even more so than the watch.
I think it's an aspect that you're not going to experience with other major brands, right? With an independent brand like this, they are flexible enough to accommodate these special design. And also it's the experience of actually going there and meeting the team, seeing how they work. If you time it right, you might even see your watch being made.
So if you guys have time to ever visit Geneva, make sure you visit the Laurent Ferrier atelier. I'm sure Lauren and the team will be more than happy to welcome you to the workshop and show you around it.